Mic check, mic check. What's up? Hello? Hello? What's up? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
How you doing today, buddy?
Fantastic.
Good. Appreciate you hooking up the house. So
My pleasure.
my wife did ask me, how do we get all these? So how should I clean all these windows? So, because my wife was like, well, there's a couple of water spots is there a way to take off all the screens or?
Sometimes those windows don't quite come clean. See, you had screens on those, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how those screens pop up. I might be able to just pop those off from the outside almost.
Yeah, it's not a big thing. It's not a big thing.
Mop and squeegee them.
I didn't know. I mean, that's what she was like, oh, and everything. So
yeah, sometimes those get a little streaky and spotty if a little bit of soap was on the top seal of that and then it drips down.
Yes.
It looks awful.
Yes.
Now I can't see it when the screens are on. You can't really see it too much until unless you're on the inside, you can definitely see it.
That's what yeah. So I can take care of the lower ones. That's that's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I just don't do the heights and everything else like that. So
when I come back to Westerville, I'll swing back by. Maybe you guys can, maybe she can pop those screens out and I can just ladder up and take care of those.
You don't have to do that. So
no, absolutely.
Oh, you know what? He wanted me to do something. Bear with me.
There we go. Paul's muted.
What's up, Paul? He's muted. You know what?
There he is.
Hey, Paul, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes. You know what I think I did is I clicked to have everybody muted when they get added.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
it's my bad.
That's A-okay, sir.
Yes.
I'm going to pull up while we got a few seconds here. I had all your questions answered except your nugget question, so I can look that up. That little fun fact.
Yeah, I just just like to.
It's a good question indeed.
What is this? Hey, Gary, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great.
Good.
I need to find my video here.
While we're waiting, I'm going to throw in a little praise and worship, if you guys don't mind.
Awesome. Shut that door, huh?
I don't know if you guys can hear this.
You are not hidden. There's never been a moment you were forgotten. You are not hopeless. Though you have been broken, your innocence stolen. I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your SOS. send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. There is no distance that cannot be covered over and over. You're not defenseless. I'll be your shelter.
She's on it.
I hear you whisper.
Paul, do you still need me to do anything with that video?
Yeah, if you could show that
Okay.
just on when I hit my second point.
Hey, give me 1 second. I got to email it to.
Send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. I will never stop marching to reach you in the middle of the hardest fight. It's true, I will rescue you. I hear the whisper underneath your breath. I hear you whisper you have nothing left. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. I never stop marching to reach you in the middle of the hardest fight. It's true, I will rescue you. Oh, I will rescue you.
So you guys have to bear with me because I'm going to have to, for some reason, I did something. So I got to find out how I share something.
Hey,
Share
Eloise, shut that
screen.
door.
Can you guys see my desktop?
Yep,
Yep.
Yes?
Yes.
your mouse.
Was that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Can you guys hear me?
Yep. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Couple more seconds. All right. I want to thank you guys for continuing to be here. I know we got some new people joining the group. And I'm excited for tonight because I got one of my buddies who's going to speak to us and share some important stuff. So I apologize. I did something different than I did before. So unfortunately, I clicked the wrong button. So it's causing everybody to have to go through me to get unmuted and everything else like that. So, but I appreciate you guys sitting here with us. So I'm just going to go ahead and lead us in a little prayer. Father, we just come before you, thanking you for everything you're doing in our lives, Father. We just thank you, Father, for the families that are present here and for the families that are going to possibly listen to this at a later point in time. We ask that you just continue to be with us, bless us, Father, give us insight, give us vision. We just dedicate our lives to you. We rededicate them to you, Father. We know that no weapon formed against us will prosper. In the name of Jesus, we just come before you, giving you praise, glory, and honor. Amen.
Amen.
So with that, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. We've got Paul here, who's the owner operator of Chick-Fil-A. I've known him for about a year and a half now, Paul. We've eaten together. We've had a lot of fun times together, a lot of jokes. It's just been a lot of good time together that we've just been breaking bread, living life together. So I'm just going to let Paul just go ahead and do it. And Paul, whenever you're ready for me to do the screen share, just let me know, and we'll just go from there.
Yeah. So I'm involved with Life with Walter in a small group. We have a good time together. I see Titus on the call here, and he's a part of our men's small group, or our family small group as well. So thanks, guys, for joining us tonight. So certainly a little bit of a challenging time, and the beauty of challenging time is it allows us to lead. To our leadership capacity is either exposed if there's a weakness, and then we can grow and develop from that, or our leadership can shine in the middle of adversity. So I love the opportunity. I love the platform that God has given us in this season as leaders. Whether that's in your home or whether that's in your business, adversity certainly gives us an opportunity to do some great things. I won't share much longer than maybe 2 minutes on Mark 4. Actually, if you're doing provision, I got to speak on the provision video conference, but Mark 4 gives us some insight into Jesus in the boat, which you've heard many times, I'm sure. But in that moment of adversity, when Jesus was in the boat sleeping, something that struck me in this season more than ever is that Jesus was positioned in a position of peace in the boat. When the disciples are frantic and everything's going on, Jesus was positioned with peace. He was asleep on a pillow, and he was inconvenienced because he was.
Oh, did you freeze, Paul? Oh, Paul, did you freeze? Well, I think he froze. Bear with us, guys. I apologize for that. We are taping, so I think technical glitches always unfortunately happen. So,
Wait.
Hey, there he is. You're frozen in one corner, and you're down in the lower left, buddy. You back? I see you, Paul. It says connecting audio.
There it is. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back, buddy.
Sorry, guys. That happened last week on my. So I think my Mac keeps crashing. So it's time for a new Mac, right? So, but Jesus was positioned in peace, and I think that the thing that the Lord has been speaking to me in this season of adversity is consistently people around us, whether it's fear or whatever's going on around them. They're always looking for someone who has a calmness and just a peace about them. And Jesus obviously was able to give that to the disciples in that season. So that's kind of the spiritual note that we'll kick on. Just the adversity gives us a lot of opportunities to speak into people's lives. So Walter asked me a couple of questions, kind of intro things here that I'll hit on, and then we'll talk about leadership when the game changes, I think was our topic tonight. So before Chick-fil-A was the question, right, Walter? So before Chick-fil-A, I was a student ministries pastor for 6 years. So I have a special passion and a heart for young people. Love that 13 to 18 range. And then the young adults. We did some young adult ministry as well. But then I started a photo booth company and did that for about 4 years and built some prototypes and franchised that. It was called Photobox, which was a franchise that we'd sold. And then also did some flipping of houses and real estate. And we still have some rental properties that we enjoy doing as well. So that was kind of the pre-Chick-fil-A time. Walter's next question was, how long did Chick-fil-A journey happen? So it says that they say there's a stat that is harder to get into Chick-fil-A than it is to get into Harvard. I don't know if that's true or not, and I have no desire to get into Harvard, but it certainly is a process to become an owner-operator. Definitely feel blessed to have went through that gauntlet. It took a little over 3 years from application process to actually inking the deal, but was quite a journey. Learned a lot in that season, and that's probably another Zoom call for another day. But yes, now have been with Chick-fil-A for almost 10 years total. So I know I don't look that old, but believe it or not, I almost am old. So yeah. So I think that's all the pre-questions. Oh, one other question as far as like the crisis, juggling the crisis. I think that the thing for me during this crisis has just been staying present with my people. I think that has really helped me in the middle of this crisis kind of stay sane. So we have a team of about 115 on our staff. So I think being involved, trying to be there almost every day. I typically try to take one day off a week, other than Sunday, which we obviously have built in. But just the value of being present as a leader in the midst of crisis, kind of going back to Jesus in the boat, right? People need to know the person who's leading is bought in. If there's a safety risk, and a health risk, they want to know that the boss is okay being there as well. And by the way, Chick-fil-A is a very safe place right now. And we'll talk about the systems here in a second. But so yeah, I think just in the middle of this crisis, being present has been so crucial in the business. And it might look present for so many different people in different ways. Might be on Zoom being present way more than before. But people just want to know that you're leading and you're present. So topic tonight was how do you lead, I guess, when the game changes? And I'll since I had some church background, I've got every pastor has alliteration and they have to use the same letter for their points. So I'll use 4 S's for my pastoral points tonight in chicken, the Bible of chicken. So my 4 S's are the scoreboard, the systems, the sensitivity, and then the service model. So I'm going to talk about all 4 of those things where we've had to change in this time, how we had to kind of lead and act different. And we'll do it under the 4 umbrellas of those essence. So the first one is the scorecard. So whatever business you're in or whatever family you lead or whatever avenue you want to judge yourself in, everybody has a scorecard. So we have certainly had to change our scorecard in this season. If you're in business, most of us judge our scorecard on what? Income or sales, right? Revenue. So if your scorecard is revenue and your scorecard is sales and the game has changed, if your value is found in sales, then you probably feel valueless or worth less during this season, right? So I think we've just tried to challenge other leaders in restaurant industry or other people of in this season of life, when the scorecard has changed, you've got to change, right? So what, what are some elements now that you can measure? I think for us, we begin to look at people development, which, by the way, there are we call them the 5 critical success factors that Chick-fil-A talks about. The first is vision. The second is people. The third is quality and customer experience. The fourth is sales and profit, sales and brain growth. And the fifth is financial return. So we look at those as business folks in Chick-fil-A constantly. Hey, how's our vision? How's our people? How's our sales and brain? How's our quality experience? How's our financial return? So we have looked certainly at the scorecard. You've kind of have to phase out a little bit the sales and brain growth a little bit right now. And one that really we've circled is the people development. Hey, are we seeing some wins with our people? Are we training differently? Or are we seeing people who maybe kind of were here in the organization now rise up in the middle of the challenge? So that's shifted. We've looked at transactions differently, right? So just month to date, I'll just share some numbers and just be a little vulnerable with you. So month to date, we're down 7,400 transactions as of now, which for us is about 18%. So there's only 3 ways to grow sales in our business: transactions, which are way down; check average, which is significantly up because more people are eating in the drive-through as far as in volume. Instead of 1 or 2 cars, now we have 3 to 4 or 5 people in the car ordering for families. And the third way for us to grow sales is catering outside the building, which in Easton, everything in Easton shut down, so nobody's ordering catering, right? So 2 of the 3 of our scorecard is not very good right now. So thankfully, we've moved and we've adapted and we've become flexible in this season and say, you know what, our worth, our value isn't in our sales. There's a whole lot more that we can judge. We desire to be the most caring company in the world. That's now Chick-fil-A's newest vision. So how do you judge care? So it used to be smiles and hospitality at the table and table touch-ins and carrying people's trays out. Now we judge care by gloves, mask, social distancing, 6 feet away. It's a different game, right? It's a different game. So we've had to adapt to what people need in this season. Now, I'm praying and believing a year from now, people aren't going to judge care by us being 6 feet away and wearing a mask and not being able to smile, right? I hope people can still know Chick-fil-A by smile and care and table touch-ins. That's what I'm hoping. But during the season, we've had to show people, hey, our new scorecard is we care about you, and this is how we care about you. We're going to be safe, and we're going to be healthy, and then these are the things that we're going to do to show you that we care. Drive-through records. We've certainly had to try to push more capacity through our drive-through. So for us right now, those of you who maybe are outside of the state of Ohio or maybe are not familiar with the restaurant industry, dining rooms are closed in the state of Ohio. In fact, most of the country, dining rooms are not an option. We do not allow anyone into our building at this point. We don't even have carry out, DoorDash, any of that in our building. So I never thought I would see the day where I'm actually trying to keep people out of my building, right? That's, Mr. Gary, that's a little wild, right? I mean, we don't want so it's that spot where, you kind of say, hey, at the beginning of this thing, when we didn't know anything about it, you never knew who could be a carrier and everybody was wanting to stay away, right? Well, I'm believing because of person of faith, and also I love hospitality, that's not going to be, where we're going to end long term. But so I say all that to say our scorecards have changed, right? We've broken some drive-through records. Yes, we don't have the dine-in or carry-out sales, but man, we've learned so much about our drive-through in the way that we can do drive-through even better. And most of you would already say Chick-fil-A is probably the best drive-through. But if you're okay with being the best, you're never going to get better, right? And we don't want to be the best, we want to be better. And we've had to look at some processes and some things there. All right, so that's the first S. The second S that we've had to look at, and then Walter, if you want to cue the video, is, and I'm not going to share too much about systems because I think Titus is going to talk about some systems next week.
So give
But
me
yeah,
1 second. I got to find it.
and I'll cue it up. I'll cue it up while you're looking for it. So one of the things that we're going to talk about or going to show here in this video is we've obviously had to change some of our systems with all of this going on. And while he's looking, my question in your business is what things have you had to evaluate and change differently? So,
Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, I'm going to let you in on the inside of our cockpit here. This is where we serve our guests through the drive-thru. This is where we.
You ready for me to go?
Yep, yep.
Ketchup coming to the cockpit.
So I don't know how much you could see of that, but I just wanted to give you kind of some context. So some of the systems in that video that are new that we've never had before, or I don't know if you could see, but we now have plexiglass outside of our drive-through window. We now had multiple people outside of the window taking orders to vehicles with containers, handing food out through containers. So if you come into our drive-thru, we don't even hand the bag to you. We hold it in a Sterilite bin and we stretch that out, and now you grab it out of a bin. We used to have one drive-thru bagger. Now we have three that hurricanes and completes the order. We now have you have to swipe your own credit card. See, I wrote some others down. We normally had 5 people in that cockpit area, and you couldn't really tell, but we had 9 now. We have our stock inside of our drive-through or our dining room instead of in the back now, because we've had to split into teams because we have an AM team, a PM team, that in case someone had COVID-19, they're not spreading it around to all kinds of different people, the back staying in the back, the front staying in the front. So I say all that to say we've had to adapt and make all these new systems. I mean, I never thought as a restaurateur and as an owner operator, I'd be serving food out of a Sterilite container, right? It's just wild, right? So we've just had to adapt, and you've had to change, and you look at your systems and you say, hey, we've got a hand washing station outside of our drive-through now, so our people who are doing drive-through orders outside can stop every 30 minutes and wash their hands, right? So when the game changes and the things shift, if you continue to do business the same old way, you obviously can't lead and you can't reach full capacity, right? So I would be interested to hear and think through, and I'd love to sit down with all of you and go to lunch and say, hey, how does business look different for you now? And I'm sure all of us, I don't know how many people are on this call now, but whatever line of work you were in, whether you're owning it or whether you're a team member in that business, everything has changed, right? So your systems have got to improve when those, when the leadership comes up for that, when the capacity calls for it. The third S that I wrote down is sensitivity. So this is not really a thing that we had to think about a whole lot in business. But I don't know if Roger Beachy is on the call, but Roger came and recently came and is looking at doing some work for us at our house, and he jokingly said, hey, I forgot my mask. Can I still come into your home, right? But that's something that is true now, right? So before the things that our guests were sensitive about, and if you came through our drive-thru, you were really sensitive about 5 things, and I'll go ahead and tell you what they are. You were sensitive about the taste. How'd your food taste? You were sensitive about the speed. How fast were we? You were sensitive. Were we smiling at you? Did that team member look grumpy or were they smiling? You were sensitive about the cleanliness of the restaurant, and then you were sensitive about the accuracy of the order. Those are 5 things that guests always want from us. Well, now that the game has changed a little bit, the sensitivity is some of those buzzwords we mentioned earlier: social distancing, care, 6 feet, all those things. So as the game has changed, so has our sensitivity to what guests need. So in your business and in your home, what are some things that maybe you didn't have to be sensitive? I'm obviously asking rhetorical questions here, but if you haven't thought about, hey, what were some things that maybe guests weren't sensitive about before that now maybe you need to start thinking of differently, that people care about that didn't care about before, right? And it's easy to kind of list some of those other things, but you might even have to peel the onion back a little bit more. Even like we've even had to think about cash differently. Like cash, everybody loves cash now. Well, now we even had to think, for a week there, we were contemplating, do we not even take cash? Hello, what? Why would we not take cash, right? It's the United States of America. We'll print that. We print it all the time, right? Whether we have it or not. But man, to think that we have to be sensitive if people want to spread germs with cash, right? So thankfully we figured that out, and we can still take cash. In fact, we'll take a lot of it. Just keep coming in. So my question is to you is your radar up about what guests are sensitive about in your business that maybe before this they weren't? And a good leader can catch that and can be sensitive to that and be thoughtful in mind. And it goes back, to care. Do you care about your teammates? Do you care about your employees? Are they someone that they can? Are you someone that they can be proud to work for? That's what, especially millennials, they care about having ownership in the business, but also they want to be identified with their employee in a positive light. They want our employers to be purpose driven. They want us to be, and this is key. If you're not writing anything down, I think after this especially, they're going to be asking questions about, are you a brand that people can trust? Are you a brand that people can trust? And if they can trust you, they'll walk through your doors, especially as kind of this thing reopens in a different way. People are going to be asking, hey, can I walk? Is it safe to walk in that building? Is that a brand that I, if you're in the service industry and you have to go by people's houses, is this a person that I can trust to let in my home? So that's all under the guise of sensitivity, and being sensitive. And then the last S, so we talked about changing scoreboards, we talked about changing systems, we talked about changing your sensitivity, what guests are looking at. And then the last one is changing your service model. So we're a restaurant, and most of the time when you come in, you eat at a restaurant. So what I've learned in the middle of this is the demand for convenience is greater than ever before. And I think it was already coming. Apps and technology-based platforms, those are all things, that aren't new. If you've got a smartphone, you're already using it. But now COVID-19 has accelerated that pace. So just going to throw some figures out to you. So before this, on our app, we were doing about 7% of our sales through our app. And now we're doing 20% of our sales through our app.
Big jump.
We were doing about $1,000 a day in DoorDash, Uber Eats, third-party delivery. We're now doing about $3,500 to $4,500 a day in DoorDash and Uber Eats. We were doing $0 in curbside pickup, and now we're doing about $1,500 a day in curbside, where people order from their phone in their car. They wait about 4 to 5 minutes, and they expect it to be piping hot, delivered to their vehicle, and they don't even pull it out of park. So we've had to change our service model. We were already doing that. We're in the midst of that. So in your business, what does post-COVID-19 look for you? What type of app could you utilize? You may have to start doing some one-on-one consultations like this, to show people, what you can do for them, to show them your floor space, to show them your showroom, whatever it might be. But people are going to want to connect here more than ever before. And our service model's got to change because a result of this, right? So do I think we can continue to do 20% on our app? I think the capacity is there. I think really probably 30-40%, which part of that I don't love because I'm a high I. I love people. So for me, when you talk about contactless order, like that offends me because I want to give you a hug. Like, I don't want to leave your food at your doorstep. I want to give you a hug. So some of that stuff is frustrating from the hospitality industry. But I think until we get over the fear in people's mind, until people can do that on their own, or the vaccine or whatever, that we're certainly going to have to look at our service models, and they're going to be shifted. Any questions around that? Well, maybe one other question or one other thought, and then I'll kind of open it up here. Is how many hurdles do people have to jump through to get to your product? And what barriers need to be eliminated? So if it's hard to get to you, or if it's hard to get to your service, what hurdles, and right now for us, a hurdle has been the front door, right? I mean, I never thought I would say that. A hurdle is the front door, but our hurdle is the front door. It's locked. So we had to think differently about how we did business, what our service model looked like. So those are my 4 S's. I could talk about Chick-Fil-A all night long. We have 33 minutes left. The last question that Walter threw on me right before this call was, how many nuggets do we sell a day? And I did look it up. Yesterday, we sold 10,108 nuggets.
Wow.
So that's in the variety of 4 count, 6 count, 8 count, 12 count, and the 30 count, which many of you have ordered.
Awesome. Well, Paul, before we throw out some questions, I just want to do a little housekeeping. I appreciate everybody joining this call. I know I pestered a lot of you guys to get on here, and the reason I do that is because I think it's meaningful. I think it's mindful, because what we're going through, we can't do this alone. I'd like to get a shout out to Josh Deani. Thank you, Josh, for bringing on the call. Sean, thank you for being on the call. I also want to give a big shout out, because most of you guys are on this call from Columbus, Ohio. I've got a buddy of mine, a brother, Anthony Curlow. He's calling from Phoenix, Arizona. Appreciate you taking time to be on the call with us this evening. So if anybody has any questions, feel free. I know, Sean, you're in the food services business. Great opportunity for you to ask Paul some questions and everything else like that. So go right ahead, guys.
Hey, Paul, this is Kevin Mason here. Can you hear me?
Hey, Kevin, how are you?
I'm doing great. I've got 2 questions here. So first question, when can we expect to see you in one of those fun Chick-fil-A commercials?
The couch commercials, those are
Yes.
awesome. I have to do something extraordinary to get in one of those.
Okay. No, but a legit question, right? I can only imagine how critical leadership is at this given time, right? When you've got a staff of over 100 people or whatever you just mentioned, right? People typically are very resistant to change, especially young folks. So in your restaurant, how did you get your staff to buy in to all these changes that need to be made, that it's safe to come to work, that we're going to do what's best for the customer? How did you get your team to buy in from a leadership standpoint?
Yeah, so we actually had to redesign the restaurant for people to walk through different lanes of entrance. Like, we have the drive-through team can only walk through the drive-through patio door. They can't come through the back door. Kitchen only comes through the back door, and then front of house comes through the side. So we literally had to map out the restaurant differently and say, you know what, this is, until we know something differently, until we know more science, what we feel like in the things that we heard and read and got advice from is, that this thing spreads through, close contact, right? So we were going to try to eliminate as much contact with other parts of the building and people, and said, this is how it's going to be. So the first level is the people who are closest to you have got to share the same heart with you. And you look at the life of Jesus, and he had 12 disciples, and they lived and they believed in him. So I would say the people who are closest to you have bought into your vision, not now, but 3 months ago or 6 months ago, because they've already believed in you as a leader. So when I came on that Sunday, and I've got 10 directors, and they run different aspects of the business, from the kitchen to the drive-through to hospitality. But when I shared with them, hey, this is my heart, I earned that trust 6 months ago, right? You don't earn it in the middle of a crisis. So I think that when you say, hey, this is it, or there's no pay, then, but we also know that there's authority that's given and there's authority that's earned. So I've got my authority, the boss, owner, operator, on my name badge, but really under the umbrella, people have got to decide, do they want to get under the umbrella and be saved from the rain, or they want to get out on their own. And then outside of the umbrella of the authority of Kevin Mason, there's danger there. But if you want to fall under this umbrella, I can promise you it's safe, and I believe it's safe, and let's get on board. So that's kind of how we sold it. And I tell you, we went from, June to second week of March, every month we were having between a 30 and 35% sales increase. And we went from, sales increase 35% to down about 25% that first day, where it got a little scary. And we stuck with it. We just had to stay with the cause and say, hey, we're not going to go back to, we're going to still stay in these teams, even if it's tight. And people bought in. And I think it is obviously with the leadership, like you said, and those closest to you.
Great question, Kevin.
I have a question for you, Paul. How many, or do you have many people that have said, I don't want to work. I don't want to work under these conditions?
Yeah. So we have 23 people who've asked not to work.
Okay.
So I've kind of jokingly said, hey, we're going to have 23 new team members, when all this is said and done. But we've actually hired about 10 new people in this process and trained them in the last 10 to 12 days. The frustrating part, Gary, honestly, is our federal government's not helping us. Our federal government is paying people on top of unemployment an additional $600 for people to stay at home, right? So I don't understand that. It's like, come on, but once again, it's as far as from the leadership angle, we control so many buckets in the restaurant, and then I can't choose to pick up the bucket of worry and doubt of the things that I can't move. Right. I've got a lot of other buckets that I could move, but dumb decisions by the federal government is one that I'll never be able to move. So that has certainly been a challenge. We've had people who say, hey, we need you, we want you to work. And I make sure to document all that, because then a couple months down the road, when they want hours, we'll be like, sorry, you said you didn't want hours and we had to hire people in your place. Good luck finding another job. Those are tough conversations. Oh, yeah. But you certainly have seen who wants to buy in. And, and some people, there are legitimate concerns. They live with people who have autoimmune diseases, and they're, unfortunately living in fear. But that definitely, I think every business has faced that challenge of people not wanting to work.
Hey, Paul, it's Josh. I got just a quick question. Are you seeing any type of, potential opportunity coming out of this, where by increasing your efficiency on curbside and drive-through in the app, there's going to be fewer restaurants when we come out on the back end of this thing. So you should have, a good amount of business coming your way. But do you think that some of this is sustainable as far as building up those sides of the business in addition to the dining room?
Yeah, great question. So yes, so Saturday we did almost $32,000 in sales. Before pre-COVID, our volumes on Saturday was 36,000, 35. So obviously down about 10% still on Saturdays. But 14 to 16,000 was inside the restaurant. So we replaced all that up to almost about $3,000 with not having, the inside of a restaurant. So we're going to have to get a little bit more creative, I think, with maybe some extra lanes and figure out some parking scenarios. But I feel like we figured out some things inside the drive-thru that were definitely going to help us long term. And then, and the cool thing is you start to test people's limits. Everybody feels like they have a capacity, and I love the exercise of, hey, stretch forth your arms. Now stretch them higher. And you're always going to find more when you do it the second time, right? And it's the same thing with when you throw a lid on people, they for some reason think that they can't move beyond that. But then we have broken drive-through record over drive-through record. We have 17 drive-through records in the month of April alone that we've never had before. So if we can even add another 60% in the dining room or carry out, we're going to be cresting 40 to 42 on Saturdays, which
That's great.
especially if you guys are in the restaurant business, that's just a ton of volume. It's a lot of Chick-Fil-A sandwiches.
Yeah, I was talking with somebody the other day, and I was telling them, whoever designed your drive-through arrangement, we need to put them in charge of traffic and engineering around Ohio, because it is a beautiful system. I mean, the way it works, just sitting there watching it I marvel at it. It's fascinating.
Thank you, Gary. I appreciate that.
I second that motion, Gary.
All right.
Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, I got a question for you. Now, like with us with the food truck, we got that big food trailer, and we were Amazon's #1 food truck. We got invited there every day, Tuesday through Saturday, and now, we're struggling because we had to go find a different location, and we're having to change location to location now just to make a buck. And when you go from $1,200 a day down to about $400 a day, that puts a ringer in your wallet. So my question to you is, do I keep sticking with do I get creative with my menus, or even, or do I just bring less food every day and take that chance? And then if somebody comes up, be like, well, we're out early, or, because, we're so used to that volume. I think I know the answer to it, but do I keep doing things because it feels like, man, I'm bleeding.
Sure. I would encourage you to be crazy generous during this time. And what I mean by that is we call it surprise and delight.
Right.
And what we find is a lot of times if we go and take food to people, even if we do it multiple times,
right,
even if it's free, there's the payback long term on that is substantial. So I think if you can be top of mind, and if it's just, hey, I need you to eat with me and I'll pay for it, that they're going to start to, because you've got a great product. So as they continue to eat that and taste it, I think it's going to be great for you long term. I'm sorry, man. 67% cut is killer.
It is. But we went from 549 followers to almost, to like 2,000.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of good things coming out of it. So when this thing breaks, this is going to be good. But at the same time, man, this is crazy.
And this was totally, I'm glad you're on the call, Sean. I want to sow $1,000 seed into your business, and I want you to give $1,000 of food away on me. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
So Monday or Tuesday, whatever day is best for your business, I want you to cook up $1,000, and I want to bless your business and bless whoever that can get your product.
Wow. Dude, that's crazy. Thank you.
So thank you for letting me. Thank you for telling me. Yeah.
Yep. That'll be a big thing. So that'll be awesome.
Hey, Sean, real quick, are you on social media?
On Facebook, yes.
Okay, so can you like the Sharpens Iron page, or find me?
Yeah.
And let's link up. That way
Okay.
we can get your contact information,
Okay.
just in case, because I know that through the church you've been jumping around, and we would like to promote, especially on this page, where you're going to be at, and if
Okay.
there's other opportunities that we all can collectively find out,
Okay.
because we'd love to throw some business your way.
Right.
We love the Lord's chicken.
Amen. And the Lord's barbecue.
Yes.
That's right. That's right. And we always give before all this stuff happened, we always bless somebody with a free lunch every day. I mean, the whole meal deal, doesn't matter if it's the special or just our dirty dogs. And but it's something that was in our business model already to begin with, and I believe that's the reason why we're still here. And these other food trucks are just closing up shop, and and it's like, how they're always texting me, how are you still in business? And I was like, man, we keep sowing our seeds every day with people, and it's been a big thing, because at Amazon, it was almost like a, who's going to be next? They keep coming out, and they're, who's going to get the next free meal, kind of thing. And it's somebody different every day. But the Holy Spirit told me, hey, look, we need to make sure that you tell them why you got this trailer and how you got this trailer.
Yes.
It wasn't because of you, it was because of me.
That's awesome.
So that's just kind of what we do. And I think that's the reason why, I believe in it. So, and so is my crew, which is awesome. But you had a good word today. I appreciate that. That was awesome.
Well, I don't want to ask you a trade secret or to reveal a trade secret, but my kids will not let me get past it if I don't at least ask. So the last several times that we've been to Chick-Fil-A, there was one extra chicken nugget in each of our chicken nugget orders. So the fact that you brought up that generosity element, I have to ask if that was deliberate or if it just was irony.
You know what? My people can't count sometimes, and a lot of times it's in your favor.
There you go. All right.
So no deliberate there. We have the deliberate surprise and delights that I was just telling Sean about, or have tried to be intentional around fire departments, police departments, places that we tried to bless during the season. So if you got one of those blessings, then you were a fortunate customer.
Yes, amen.
I'm just glad it was counting in your favor and not against it, because we get those calls on occasion. Hey, I got a 12 count. You gave me 11. Do people not know how to count?
Yeah, I've been short the last couple times. I don't know who that guy is over there. They got those extra ones, who that guy is, but I think he owes me some money.
Well, if it's the Lord's chicken, maybe he's telling you only need 11 nuggets, Dad.
That's right. That's right. You're fasting.
Right.
That's awesome. That's great. Any other questions? I mean, this is our time, guys, because, the name of the group is Iron Sharpens Iron. And I believe, Paul's dropping some great nuggets. No pun intended. That's good.
How about other questions for other people, or any interaction maybe, as far as different, maybe even name the different, I'm not sure what their businesses are on here, Walter.
Yeah. So because I've got this, I don't know, global view. I'm just going to go off of my thing. So Josh Crabtree, I'll let you go ahead and talk about what you do.
Yeah. So after Provision 2018, it was, we were praying for a small business to start, my wife and I, and one day it just literally came to my head as I came around a corner, and I said, that's it. So we started a house and roof washing business, probably soft wash. And it, we did a little bit the first year, a lot more the next year. And this year we're on pace for probably tripling. So we've been basically tripling or quadrupling each year for the last, this is our third full season. It's been, this COVID-19 thing has actually been better for business than anything that's happened so far. it's kind of crazy, but a lot of things kind of fall into place. My wife is starting to work for the business, so it's going really well. And I also full-time teach.
Anna, you're next. Anna and Isabella.
My husband and I I'm a published author, and so that's kind of a business thing there. I teach English to Chinese students online. My husband is an artist who makes a living. And so we always very entrepreneurial, very buy and sell, done a lot of things. Stumbled on a couple months ago an idea with coffee, and it's a blend of some things. Gave it out to some people, got a lot of really good feedback, and we are slowly starting our own coffee roasting business. And that's just one of many things that are on our heart. All my years in social media help. And so Sean, when you're out there on those things, make sure you're sharing and being very active with your public, because they have to find you now. Hey guys, because I follow Maze quite a bit, and every so often I'll see that you guys are going together, but if I was trying to follow you, I wouldn't have found you, except only through Maze. So make sure, hey, we're out here, everybody. Get very animated. Start, don't be obnoxious. There's a balance. You don't want to tag people because that becomes annoying, but making sure, especially through Instagram, do not belittle Instagram. Create your own account, make sure you're active, and you'll see a little bit more reaction.
Gary Sr.
Kitchen tables and more, Morse Road, I-270. We sell kitchen and dining room furniture.
Okay. So Gary Jr., you spoke last week, but I'll have you go again.
Yeah, I'm Gary Vincent Jr., most notably the son of Gary Vincent Sr. When I'm not signing autographs for being his son, I'm also an attorney, and I have my law practice up at Polaris. And much like what we were talking about tonight, yeah, I have seen a big shift in my practice, getting more involved in the digital and the technology side of things. I'm definitely engaging more clients on Zoom and Skype and Google Meets and all these other different forums. So that's been kind of exciting for me to be forced to get engaged there and do some new things. It's hard to know long-term whether that'll become part of my practice, just because with attorneys, confidentiality and some things there can be really dangerous. So you have to still be careful how much you integrate that into your practice, but I'm sure there will still be some that survive this COVID-19, and it'll be a long-term part of what I do.
Awesome. Josh Deani.
Hey guys, I'm also an attorney. I focus really 3 areas. So business owners, I deal with starting up businesses, the lifeline, lifetime of their business, dealing with their contracts and employees, and then when they ultimately sell. If it touches real estate, I handle it, and then finally estate planning. And much like Gary said, it's been learning on the fly to do all of your meetings online with everybody. So I have been meeting people in parking lots to notarize things. It feels like a seedy transaction somehow, but it'll be interesting. But I think there's a lot of opportunity for efficiency, and I don't know, it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
Yes, awesome. Kevin Mason, you're up next, buddy.
Yes, sir. So I'm a CPA and corporate finance guy. And most recently, I just had a book published this past month. It's called You Met Her Where. And long story short, we have a very unique story. My wife and I, my wife was electrocuted. She had a brain tumor. She had brain surgery. Doctors told us we would never have children. We had a miscarriage, infertility issues. And then 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer. And from what we've learned at Faith Life Church, it's literally saved our lives, right? So today we live a life, complete healing, complete restoration, 3 children, healthy, beautiful. And it's because of what we've learned at Faith Life. So we've written that book, we've shared our journey. And then one way to market that book, we started a podcast as well. And it's called Tell Us a Good Story. So we just started that 2 months ago, and it's been going really well. So we're very blessed. So podcast, host, author, CPA, corporate finance guy. So kind of a lot on my plate right now.
Yes. Robert Sly, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Walter, pretty good. Yeah, I wasn't ready for this, but yeah, I was a pipe fitter at GM, They closed our plant. I had 28 years in there, so I retired in 2006. I had gotten into real estate investing back in the late 80s, and so I got back into that. And so what I do now is sometimes I buy and hold properties, sometimes I buy and sell them. I've associated myself with a group. It's called affordable housing providers, certified affordable housing providers. There's like 500 of us across the country. And so we help people on the pathway to home ownership where most people can't get loans from a bank. We will help them either with their credit if they need that. We can start them off at rent to own, land contract, all the way up. And so we help them achieve home ownership. I've got a book, I think I showed you one chapter of the one book I wrote is called Doing Good While Doing Well. And my chapter is my story. And then a bunch of the other people I work with have their chapters in there as well. And then we have a book called Never Pay Rent Again. And then I also work with private lenders, people who have IRAs or 401ks. We show them how they can do a self-directed IRA where they can earn money on. Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
No, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
I'm playing around.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I do. Yeah. Real estate.
I was just playing around with you when you said IRA, self-directed, and 401ks.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Going into real estate. That was supposed to be a joke. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. But just, so I use private lenders is how I fund my deals. And generally, it's so people can earn a better return on their money and back up our real estate.
Awesome. Sean?
Well, I'm Sean with Dirty Dogs Barbecue, and dirty because we've all been dirty at one time or another, and dogs is doing all with God spiritually. And came up with that back in 2007 when I worked in the Cobb County Police Department in Atlanta, Georgia. And we were wanting to buy a building down there in 2009 and right there in the square of Marietta. And some dirtbag decided for me to change that because I shot him. So after that was kind of it for the restaurant thing. I thought that was going to be my way out to get to get out of police work, and then lo and behold, I get back to get my head cleared out in Wyoming, come back to Ohio, and here we are. We start Dirty Dogs Barbecue, even though it was pretty much a done deal back in 2007. So the guy that drew all my cartoons on the side, he draws now for Archer. He was a partner of mine, and he draws for Archer on FX. And so kind of a little quirky thing there for us, I guess. And but yeah, we started out in a little trailer, and we were only in that for about 6 months, and we had to have these 100-pound tents every day. We'd whip out, put them over top of that sucker, and God says, "Hey, look, I think you can step it up a little bit. So I'm going to supply you with something that you've been dreaming about." And so we did, and found out that the color yellow in the Bible means joy. So we said, Holy Spirit says that's the color going to be. Okay, cool. So that's what we did, and then he says, you're going to put Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Once you do that, he says, I'm going to send you more than you can handle. And it wasn't more than I can handle, so which was really a cool thing. And because God really doesn't do that. So, but anyways, so I put that on the back, and we got Amazon pretty much permanently, and we even got Budweiser and some other big properties, Unique and Majestic Paint Plant, which they just called us out of the blue last week, and we got it Tuesday and Wednesday of this week, and had some record numbers. So this was really a cool thing. So that's kind of us. Kimberly and I have been married 28 years, and this is a dream. And my son works with us, Christopher, and that's a family operation, and it's just kind of what we do.
Awesome.
Hey, by the way, Sean,
yeah.
I just want to say how much the story that you shared and you had recorded at the church, how much that meant to my wife and I.
Yeah.
I know that probably was not easy to do.
Nope.
With sharing your story, your background, but that was such an inspiration to my wife and I just want to say thank you, because That was phenomenal. Absolutely incredible. So thank you for doing that.
So that's awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin, for saying that.
Yeah.
Phil.
Hey guys, I'm Phil. I'm also a CPA, and my background is that I worked in public accounting for a larger public accounting firm called Clark Schaefer Hackett. Did a lot of real estate tax for about 6 years, and then 2 years ago, went out on my own, and I'm partners with my dad and brother, and we still do some taxes, but I think our main focus is more to be the small business CFO. So we go in and we will help people set up their accounting systems. We will advise them. We will help them structure everything. It works really well in situations when people don't need to hire a full-time accountant. We'll just come in and we'll just do everything for them. It works for us because we don't have to do 40 hours of work, but it also works for them because they don't need to hire somebody full-time to do it. But then we can bring in our expertise. And over the last few years, we've really been really working a lot more into the cloud accounting space. So this whole situation didn't affect us a ton in that we were already doing everything cloud-based, but it did really make us think more about how do we get our message out. Being accountants, Kevin, you can probably agree with this. We're not really good about talking about ourselves and getting what we do out there. You know, if I say accounting, you probably think tax, but that's not necessarily exactly what we're doing. We might, we have figured out ways how to save people time, which is incredibly valuable. They don't have to spend that time doing something. I may be able to do it faster than you can, but then, it saves everybody in the long run. And so we really look at trying to grow people's business. And so that's kind of in a nutshell what we do.
Roger, how you doing, buddy?
Good, man. How's it going? First of all, thank you, Paul, for tonight. That was good. As anticipated. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
I'm Roger. Background is in construction, all types of construction growing up. Built a lot of homes with my uncle. Pretty much straight out of high school. And then now I do all custom interior trim, woodworking, and cabinetry. So been doing that since 2008, last time the economy did this. So set up a lot better this time, so it's been good. Had a rocky start, learned a lot, and so I've been growing ever since then. In the process now, kind of putting a team together and expanding into some new stuff, some contracting and stuff like that. So that's what I'm up to.
Appreciate it. Aaron Ward, I don't know if you're getting ready for work.
I'm actually driving right now. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, buddy. They want to know.
Actually heading to work now. So I'm a full-time, I'm a police sergeant, and I work third shift, so I'm on my way to work now. But in addition to that, I just sent Walter a video that he asked me to do. Also work for Ford Financial Group. I've been there several years, and it's one of Pastor Gary's companies. Working we help people, show people how to get out of debt, and inside that, we also do life insurance as well as roll over any old 401ks, things of that nature. And so, as a challenge that Walter gave us last week when Gary was talking about how to raise $500, my wife and I quickly prayed on it and ended up putting something into place that we didn't have before, and we were able to do that in about 96 hours. But so we do that, and that is going to eventually be our transition from law enforcement when I retire here in a few years to do that more full-time permanently in the financial industry. But in addition, our heart is for families and for accountability in men. So last year, we finally wrote a men's small group called Building Your King and Fire Team. And during that process, we learned a lot, and we became our own publishers and distributors of the book. And book sales went down, of course, these last few weeks. So we figured out a way to increase our sales and increase our, our visibility worldwide by doing a free giveaway. And it took off so quickly that we almost had to comment back because we drew up so much business that it was almost more than we could handle with the other things that we were doing. So we've been blessed. So that's what we do. And we really love this group. Paul, thanks for all the good nuggets, if you don't mind me saying, drop today.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Aaron. Mr. Curlo, Anthony, are you still there, buddy?
I am still here, and I'm going to try this video. I apologize. I wasn't prepared to be on camera, and so I'm living the quarantine life. But yeah, thank you for the invite. Paul, thank you so much for sharing. And also, Kevin, thank you for your brief testimony. That really just touched me. My background is both in financial services and digital marketing. I've been in the digital marketing space since the late 90s. I run a small boutique agency, and then I do personal and business financial coaching. So I just enjoy serving entrepreneurs, serving families, things like that. And someone else mentioned that they're an entrepreneurial couple. My wife is also entrepreneurial. She's a therapist. She works at a Christian counseling center. Thankfully, she's able to see people virtually through Zoom, so that was a blessing. Unfortunately, she also owns a photography business, which I don't have to tell you what that looked like from the mid-March on. Canceled weddings and senior pictures and stuff like that. But you know what? God is good, and we are blessed, and we are so grateful that we're not in dire straits like so many people are. So I don't want that to sound like a concern. Just sharing who I am and what we do. So really great to meet you all. Walter, thanks so much for the invite to the group. And next time, I promise I'll dress up.
All right. So if you don't mind me telling, Anthony and I are in a Facebook group together. And we met, I don't know how long ago we met, maybe about a year ago. And I've never met him in person. We've only talked over the telephone 2-3 times. We've exchanged emails and kind of going from there. So this is actually the first time I've seen him live. Him and I've got a lot of things in common. Our families look alike, and everything else like that, dynamics and everything else like that. We both like IT, we both like finance and everything. So it's just a blessing to see how God can connect you with a brother from 1,000 miles away. I haven't been able to get on an airplane to go see him in Phoenix. So when I do get out there, I promise to buy him dinner or something like that, and we can break bread. I will also do this, Anthony, because most everybody on this call goes to our church. I'm going to send you I'll send you the links to the stories so you can see Sean's story, you can see Aaron's story, you can see Kevin's wife's story. They're going to make you cry, I'll be honest with you. Every time I listen to them, I sit there and cry, and I think I'm getting soft. I don't know if it's because of all the girls I have in my house or it's from the stories.
It's God's heart, brother. It's God's heart.
Yeah. So I'll send that to you and everything else like that.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, because we want to connect. Because this group isn't about me. I'm probably not going to talk about any investments or anything else like that. I'll give you economic updates. It's not about me. It's about you guys. We just want to continue to grow. And Titus, I don't know if you're there or not.
I am.
Okay.
I'll fire up the video just for you guys. How's that? Hey, what's going on? Whoa, am I in San Francisco?
You are.
Nice. Wow, it's really cold up here. So my name is Titus. I'm a management consultant. I specialize in operational excellence, in process improvement, business efficiencies, leadership. I've been in last 13 plus years, I've been in Fortune 20, Fortune 50 companies. Within the last year, I went to a boutique consulting firm here locally in Columbus, where we actually have a national footprint. So working with some of the larger companies here are actually based here in Columbus. On the side, I do some freelance business coaching, strategy development. My passion really is helping people with their processes. I think that next week I'm going to go way more in depth, but at the end of the day, everything is a process and everything can be improved. I think that if you're improving, they're always growing. So I think that's really my heart. On the side, I'm also working on a book. And most of you guys know I'm heavily involved with the worship ministry at Faith Life Church. So that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I put you for last because, like I said, Titus is going to be speaking next week. It's going to be powerful, guys. I would encourage each and every one of you to invite a friend, coworker, somebody else, so that we can keep this thing growing. I think Zoom says I've got a capacity for 100 people. So, let's max out and kind of go from there. With that, it's 9:05. I know the NFL draft is going on, so I don't know who the Browns are taking or anything.
The Bengals picked up Burrows.
Okay.
Hey, Walter, can I throw out one other thing real quick?
Go right ahead, buddy.
So just something we've been talking about from a leadership standpoint is typically issues are under one or two buckets, either aptitude or attitude. People either don't know or they don't care. And we can teach people skills. We can teach them aptitude. You know, we can teach them how to make a chicken sandwich, but we can't teach them how to care. And even in this crisis and your time and your season, I think you can look in the mirror and say, hey, how am I approaching today? You know, how's my attitude and how's my aptitude? And is there something in my attitude that needs to change so I can lead my organization differently? And then on my aptitude, is there a new skill that I need to learn today to be a little bit more effective in the seasons to come?
That's great.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah.
With that, I'm just going to pick on somebody. Josh, do you mind closing us out in prayer, buddy?
Sure. Lord, we just come to you tonight. We thank you that we have an opportunity to still meet, to discuss the amazing insights and wisdom that you've given us, God, to exchange information, to sharpen each other as iron is sharpening iron, God. We thank you that although this time can be scary, there's a lot of opportunity out here. We thank you that we and our loved ones are protected by your blood. And we thank you, God, that you are directing our steps going forward. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. So the last thing, Aaron talked about the challenge. So anybody who wasn't on the call last week, the challenge is find something different where you can make $500. Not your normal job, not your normal way of generating income, side hustle. Find something different. So the goal is over the next 30 days, find something different that you can make $500, but then take that money you earn and donate it to some ministry, some nonprofit. And the reason is because what's the old proverb? If you teach a man how to fish, he can eat for the rest of his life. It's just trying to teach us how to change, how to be adaptable, and everything else like that. So Aaron's got a video of that. So as you guys, over the next 30 days, as those things happen, send them to me so I can put it on Facebook. Facebook is going to be the way I communicate, because trying to manage a business and a home and getting 1,000 emails, there was no way I could do it. So that's why I'm trying to pivot everything to Facebook. I'm blowing up your guys' Facebook page on purpose. I'm going to just kind of give you an idea. It is a marketing technique to keep you guys engaged, but also tell other people about what you do. That's why I sent out that link to Kevin's podcast. Honestly, Kevin, I would love to see Paul on one of your podcasts as well. I know you probably already thought about that, but looking at the numbers and everything else like that. But I want us to connect because that's the only way we're going to be able to grow. Hold me accountable. If you guys think I'm posting too much, let me know. I'm always looking at CNBC, so I'm always going to throw out breaking news. The House did pass the bill, so I'm assuming President Trump's going to sign the bill tomorrow. A lot of those publicly traded companies are going to get the pressure from the press to give the money back. So if you applied for the PPP, if you haven't applied for the PPP or EIDL, if you've got a side hustle, you're a real estate agent, you're eligible for those dollars. I would reach out to Phil on the Facebook group. There's our call on that. If you've got any questions, Phil can go from there. I'm sure Kevin has any information, Josh or Gary Jr. If you guys need help with that, feel free to be a resource, because like I said, if we can't help people, we can't help ourselves. So, that's what we're trying to do. So I appreciate you guys. I love you. Look forward to talking to you guys next week, and thank you.
Thank you.
Guys.
Like that.
Bye-bye.
And
Take
girls.
care. Nice to meet everybody.
Thanks.
See ya.